Good morning, good evening, everyone. The webinar will start in exactly 2 minutes by 8:30. The webinar will commence in a minute. Thank you for your patience. It's time to start the webinar. Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us in today's webinar on navigating the complexities of global chemical and product complaints. In today's globalized marketplace, ensuring that your products adhere to chemical regulations across different countries is crucial. This webinar will equip you with knowledge and strategies to navigate this complex landscape with confidence. We will dwell into essential regulations like IMDS, EU-UK RoHS, EU-UK China RoHS, SCIP, TASCA, PFAS, Prop 65 and POP. Some housekeeping. Everyone but speakers are muted at this time. This meeting is being recorded and will be shared after the session. There will be a survey at the end of the webinar for you to fill in order to receive a copy of this webinar recording and additional documents to explain more details. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to use the comment section. We can cover it at the end of the session, or you can write your queries to complaints@apengine.com. We will respond to your queries at the earliest. Our speakers today are Bharat Sriram, who is a regulatory complaints expert with around 5 years of experience, and myself, Mahesh, I am with the experience of 10 years in regulatory complaints field. Who we are? We are a global company with 350+ customers across the globe with 20 years of experience. As a company, we are having divisions of engineering, sourcing, and software and complaints division. In complaints, We offer services as well as complaint solutions with the software, along with the turnkey solutions on regulations like IMDS, REACH, RoHS, conflict minutes, Prop 65, SCIP, and more. These are few complaints regulation we are already offering service as well as software solutions. The agenda for today's webinar are importance of compliances, overview of global product as well as chemical complaints, and specifically regarding IMDS, REACH, RoHS, SCIP, PFAS, and Prop 65. And at the end, we'll be discussing on the challenges of rising global regulation and how to tackle them. The importance of global chemical and product compliances. Why is compliance important? Global chemical and product compliance isn't just about ticking boxes. It's about safeguarding human health, protecting the environment, and fostering responsible business practices. By ensuring your products comply with regulations and avoiding costly delays, hefty fines, and potential reputational damages. Compliance also allows to access new markets with confidence that knowing your products meet the necessary safety standards. Additionally, responsible sourcing of materials and adhering to environmental regulations contribute to a more sustainable future. Demystifying key regulations. Yeah, overview. The world of chemical complaints can seem overwhelming with a multitude of regulations across different regions. This session aims to demystify some of the key regulations you might encounter. We'll provide a high-level overview of IMDS, a data system specific to automotive industry, REACH EU-UK, a regulation focusing on the registration, evaluation, and potential restriction of chemicals. REACH, that is covered. RoHS, EU-UK, China RoHS, which restricts the use of certain hazardous substances in electrical and electronic equipments. SCIP, Supply Chain Information Platform, a database for information on substances of concern in products. TSCA, Toxic Substance Control Act, a US regulation governing the control of chemicals. PFAS, perfluoro and perfluoroalkyl substances, a group of emerging contaminants facing increasing regulatory scrutiny. I request Bharat to take over the session. Thanks.
Thank you, Megesh, for the introduction. The International Material Data System, or IMDS, is a critical tool for the automotive industry. It is an online platform where the suppliers declare the material composition of their products, providing transparency throughout the supply chain. This information is then utilized by the automobile manufacturers to assess the compliance with various regulations. By actively engaging with IMDS, you can ensure your materials meet the automotive industry standards and contribute to the production of safe and compliant vehicles. In fact, IMDS is essentially created by the OEMs to ensure ELV requirements are met. Next slide. Key steps and considerations for IMDS. To ensure a smooth IMDS experience, consider the following key points. Identify the specific material declaration required for your products based on their use in a vehicle. Gather material safety data sheets (MSDS) from your suppliers, which provide detailed information on the chemical composition of their materials. Maintain accurate and up-to-date IMDS data for your products to ensure transparency and facilitate compliance assessment. Effective communication with your suppliers is crucial to ensure that they understand your IMDS requirement. And finally, staying informed about updates and amendments to IMDS and automotive regulations. Next slide, please. Okay. The benefits of IMDS. The IMDS services ensures that automotive products and their components are compliant with environmental regulations such as RoHS, which restricts the use of hazardous substances in electronic products. By tracking the materials used in the manufacturing and ensuring compliance, the industry can avoid any costly fines and penalties and protect the environment. Efficiency and transparency in supply chain. The IMDS helps streamline approvals for parts that meet regulations and increases efficiency in the supply chain. And IMDS also provides a clear picture of the material used across the supply chain, thus providing a transparency in the products that have been used. IMDS system improves the efficiency of data management by automating the collection and reporting of material data. This reduces the time and resources required to collect and manage the data and ensures the data is in standardized and accurate form. By tracking and managing the materials using IMDS, manufacturers can identify areas for improvement in the material selection, design, and manufacturing process to reduce the environmental impact of their product. Thus, this can lead to the reducing in the wastage and improved energy efficiency, and also in the use of sustainable materials. Next slide, please. Addressing IMDS compliance challenges. There need to be a supplier onboarding program for the new suppliers, and there is a need to train them on the IMDS for them to be the IMDS system. Conducting need to use specific tools for data collection, verification, and management of data within IMDS. We need to establish a clear communication about the requirements in the IMDS with our suppliers to get the required data. Conducting regular audits on the supplier data and the internal IMDS records to ensure the accuracy of the data and to find any potential mismatches and errors. Next slide, please. Okay. Participants, it's a time for a quick poll. I would ask all the attendees to participate in the poll, please. Thanks for taking part in the poll. Let's go back to the presentation. Okay. REACH EU. The EU REACH is a regulation adopted to improve the protection of human health and the environment from hazardous chemicals, and it is mostly in the European Union region. REACH applies to the chemicals used in the day-to-day life. REACH imposes a responsibility on the companies that import, produce, or use chemicals in the EU region. It has a procedure for collecting and assessing information on the substances. The company needs to register the substance, and the ECHA receives and evaluates and finds the assessment of the substance. If the substance is hazardous based on the assessment, then ECHA can restrict the usage or make it into the authorization list. Next slide. Okay. You reach a candidate list, one of the 3 lists in the EU reach. The candidate list has substances that have hazardous impacts on the environment or the human health. If the substance which is present in the candidate list is used in the product that is being in the EU region, then the company should disclose the information to the customer, operator, or the end recycler. The candidate list is updated every 6 months, and the substances in the candidate list are under continuous monitoring and can be moved to the authorization list. On January 23, 2024, the candidate list was updated and new 5 substances were added. Next slide. The authorization list or the REACH Annex 14. It's a list that identifies SVHC with serious and often irreversible negative impacts on human health or environment. Authorization is required for placing SVHC substance present in the EU region. In 2023, the authorization list was updated with 8 new substances. Next slide. Reach Annex 14 list. Yeah. The Annex 14 list restricts the use of these substances without any prior authorization from the ECHA. Each Annex 14 current list consists of over 59 SPHs as of May 2024. The list is regularly updated as new scientific study emerges. The most recent update occurred in 12th April 2023. Next slide. Each Annex 17 are the restriction list. The Annex 17 list contains list of restriction of certain hazardous substance mixtures and articles for their marketing and use in European market. The restriction can apply to any substance on its own, in a mixture, or in an article, including those that do not require registration. Currently, there are 73 valid entries on the REACH Annex 17, last updated on 12th December 2023. Next slide. The next is UK REACH. The UK REACH is almost identical to EU REACH. The EU REACH is governed by Health, Safety and Environmental Body. Registration. The chemicals manufactured imported into the UK are required to be registered in HSE body using a downstream user import notification by 27th October 2021. Authorization list is almost same as EU authorization list with 97 substances. Once a substance is identified as SVHC, it is included in the candidate list. So the 208 substance currently. Restriction. Complete restriction of a substance placed in UK market if it poses unacceptable risk to human health and environment. The Secretary of State, based on the aid and advice of Health and Safety Executive, will list the substance to be under restriction list. Currently, the restriction list has 74 substances as of 29th April 2022, which was last updated. Next slide. Compliance with UK REACH grandfathering. The grandfathering applies to all EU REACH registrant held by the businesses that are in Great Britain to obtain a UK registration related to REACH number related info EU REACH number to HSE. Downstream user notification DUN number. In order to supply substance to EU without registration for a certain time frame, depending on the tonnage or the profile of the substance, UK importers have to submit a downstream user import notification to HSE. Next slide. Next regulation is the restriction of hazardous substance (RoHS). The rise in the production and the usage of electrical electronic equipments products resulted in the increase in the waste related to the electrical electronic components. In order to address the issue, EU came up with RoHS directive in 2002. Next slide. RoHS is a product level regulation for electrical and electronic products in the EU region, introduced in 2002 to reduce the use of hazardous substance and thus reducing the waste associated with it. This directive affects manufacturers, their authorized representative, importers and distributors of the products, including household equipments, computer and consumer electronics, power tools, toys and more. All applicable products in the EU market after July 1, 2006 must pass RoHS compliance. The RoHS compliance has been spread to many regions and it has been currently in UK and China also. Next slide. A Directive 2011/65/EU was published in 2001 by the EU, which is known as RoHS recast or RoHS 2 generally. RoHS 2 includes a CE marking directive, with RoHS complaints now being required for CE marking of the product. RoHS 2 also added categories 8 and 9 and as an additional compliance record keeping requirement. Directive 2015/863 is known as RoHS 3. RoHS 3 adds additional 4 restricted substance phthalates to the already present list of 6 substances. Next slide. Okay. The obligation RoHS presents is, okay, on the manufacturer side, manufacturer must comply with the substance that is present in the RoHS directive, must perform internal control and audit, must also have to have technical documents on the product produced, required to complete a declaration and affix the CE marking on the product. On the importer side, RoHS has the obligation of must ensure that the manufacturers comply with the RoHS directive. If the manufacturer is not compliant, then the importer should take the action on non-compliant manufacturer by not placing the product in the EU region. On the distributor side, the RoHS places the obligation that you should verify the marking whether the CE logo is present and to verify the documents given by the manufacturer are valid and ensure the compliance before the selling into the market. Next slide. The RoHS restricted substance list. The list of substances that are currently under RoHS directive are lead, mercury, cadmium, hexavalent chromium, polybrominated biphenyls, and polybrominated diphenyls ether. These 6 substances are present from RoHS 2, and from RoHS 3, additional 4 substances that are added are 4 phthalates that have been added. The restriction on the additional 4 substances went into the effect July 22, 2019 for all acting experts. That the last 4 substances that have been added. Next slide. Okay. The product category in which the RoHS scope valid is category 1: large household applicants, small household applicants, computing and other communication equipments, consumer electronics and lighting, power tools, toys and other sports equipment, medical devices and equipments that have been used, monitoring and control equipment such as smoke detectors, fire alarms, and automatic dispensers, the vending machine, ATM machines, and other electronic and electrical equipments that cover the above category, including two-wheeler electric vehicles and e-cigarettes, vapors such as. Next slide. A few application electrical applications that are not in scope are military grade usable products and space equipments, transportation vehicles, except the electric related vehicles, all the others are coming under out of scope, and batteries and component fluorescent light and bulbs. Next slide. Okay, RoHS compliance. Company that need to be compliant with RoHS require extensive data from their supply chain to demonstrate the compliance with RoHS directive. This requires consistent engagement with suppliers to obtain required information. To ease the burden on demonstrating compliance, companies are able to request RoHS certification, compliance certification from their suppliers for the parts that are used in the final product or equipment. Next slide. EU RoHS compliance CE markings. In addition to the technical documents prepared by the companies are now required to place a CE marking on their product. Using the CE marking means that the manufacturer has created and had access to technical file with a complete data set related to the product's compliance with all relevant legislation. The technical data sheet created should be maintained for a period of 10 years. The CE marking in the product does not only denote compliance with RoHS directive. Next slide. Okay. UK RoHS. The UK RoHS is same as EU RoHS. The purpose of the RoHS regulation in the UK region is to restrict the certain hazardous substances from entering the production process and therefore ultimately keep them out of the environment. This regulation applies to any electrical and electronic equipment placed on the market in Great Britain with a voltage rating not exceeding 1000 volt for AC and 1500 volt for DC, and some out of scope products are military grade equipment, large scale stationary industrial tools, photovoltaic panels, and electrical vehicles except non-road mobile machineries, and active implantable medical devices. Next slide. UK RoHS compliance. The RoHS enforcement agency in the UK is the Office of the Product Safety and Standards. Obligation of the manufacturers. The manufacturer is responsible for ensuring compliance with the whole product being placed in the GDC. They are responsible for creating and maintaining a technical data sheet along with the compliance document. The manufacturer also required to place UKCA markings on the product. On the importer side, the RoHS keeps obligation that the imported product should comply with the regulation, should also hold a declaration of conformity document and ensure all the technical documentation is available for inspection. The distributor must ensure that the listed products has a marking, UKCA marking, and information on both the manufacturer and importer is present before placing the product in the UK region. Next slide. China RoHS. The Chinese Ministry of Industry and Information Technology published China RoHS 2 on Jan 21, 2016 and came effect on July 1, 2016. RoHS, China RoHS 2 restricts the same 6 substances as substances present in EU RoHS 2. Okay. The few products that are in scope for China RoHS include refrigerators, air conditioners, fax machine, printers, copy machines, televisions, monitors, computers, and a few. Okay, next slide. China RoHS compliance marking. The China RoHS 2 requires that all electronic and electrical products that are sold in the China region be marked with one of the following 2 logos. A green symbol with V. It represents that the product does not contain any hazardous substance exceeding the concentration limit as prescribed in the RoHS document, and is a green, environmentally friendly product that can be recycled. And the another logo is the orange symbol with a number in it that representing the product contains certain hazardous substance and can be used safely during its environmental production period, and it should be entered the recycling system after its environmental production period is over. Okay, next slide. SCIP. Okay. A SCIP is a database with information of articles containing substance of very concern is greater than 0.1 state. The aim of the using a SCIP database is to promote a circular economy. And it also helps the waste operators in sorting and recycling the articles that contain HVAC and support customers in making an informed choice about the materials present in the product. And it also helps in assisting the finding a safer alternative of the already used SVHs. The SCIP applies to articles placed in EU market after a deadline of 5th Jan 2021. Next slide. The businesses which places the articles that contain 0.1% with weight substance are those in scope. It can be a producer that produces the product, or importer who imports from other region and places it in the EU region, or assembler who assembles, and a distributor who distributes it to the customer. The SCIP is not for scope if it is produced in EU, but it is only for outside of EU, not sold the product in EU market after 5th Jan 2021, and the product is not supplied and it is only currently in the repairing phase. Next slide. Okay. The legal obligation. If you have a legal entity and you are selling the part directly to you, then the business or the entity have a legal obligation and may need to have a customer obligation also. If you're indirectly selling it to you, then you don't have a legal obligation, and you have obligation only to the distributor, importer, and the customer. Next slide. The different version changes of SCIP are shown in the as tabulated. The latest version of the SCIP, that is the 5.0, has added new user rules in the SCIP. Okay. Next slide. Yeah, the recent update, the SCIP version 5.0. The new user rules with respect to ECA submission portal are submission portal manager restricted and the submission portal reader. Also, there is addition of countries to SCIP obligation. From 1st August 2022, SCIP reporting obligation applies all countries present in the European Economic Area. This adds below countries that now requires SCIP submission to the ECA SCIP database from the returners. The following countries are Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein. Next slide. Okay. Participants, it's time for a quick poll. I request all the participants or attendees to actively participate in the poll. Thanks for the participation in the poll. Okay. Let's get back to the presentation. Okay. I request Mahesh to take over the session. Thanks.
Thank you, Bharat, for sharing the insights into multiple chemical regulations and the requirements. Let's discuss on task of PFAS. The TSCA, the Toxic Substance Control Act, and perfluoroalkyl substances PFAS represent two crucial issues in the regulation of chemical substances. PFAS are a class of persistent, bioaccumulative, and toxic chemicals that are widely used in multiple industrial as well as consumer products. Due to the increasing applications, and they are also detected as bioaccumulation in the environment and causing harms to human health as well as the environment. Since 2009, perfluorooctane, sulfonic acid, and its derivatives, which are collectively called as PFOS, have been included in the International Stockholm Convention, that is POPs, to eliminate their use in the environment as well as the human applications. PFOS has been restricted in the EU for more than 10 years under POP regulation. Several PFAS are on the REACH candidates already as a SVAC. A few has been already labeled as already included in the harmonized classification as well as labeling under CLP regulation. ECA's database contains information on several thousands of individual PFAS on the EU market. They belong to a variety of subgroups. Accessing them as well as managing the risk under a subgroup requires additional extensive time and efforts. Therefore, ECA provides acknowledges the holistic group approach to the regulatory assessment and risk management will be explored. the US TASCA. In addition to EU, US has already implemented Toxic Substance Control Act. It is collectively called as TASCA in 1976 under EPA, Union Production Agency, with the authorities to require reporting as well as record keeping and testing requirements, restrictions related to chemical substances and mixtures. Certain substances are generally excluded from TASCA, like from food industry, drugs and cosmetics and pesticides. TASCA addresses production, import, use and disposal of specific chemicals, including PCBs, that is polychlorinated biphenyls, asbestos, radon and lead-based paints. Key authorities of EPA includes reviewing the new chemicals. That is, companies must submit information on the new chemicals that they are bringing into environmental production agency for their safety review before that can be actually manufactured, commercially introduced into the environment or in US region. Existing chemicals also require testing as well as restriction if there is any risk is posed, which may be like already grandfathered in the initial phase, but it also requires additional testing before entering into US region. Information gathering also a part of authorities under EPA. TASCA empowers EPA to gather data on existing as well as new chemicals from the manufacturer as well as the processors. Risk measurement is advantage from the authorities. Based on assessments done, EPA can implement various controls, including labeling requirements, restriction on usage, as well as the bans on specific chemicals if they pose a significant threat to the environment. The linkage within PFAS and TASCA. PFAS are synthesized for many different uses, ranging from firefighting, foams, and coatings due to their bioactivity as well as the restriction to their environment, and their application is widely used in multiple facets of industries, including textiles, electronics, cable industries, pipes, sports articles, as well as automotive products, toys, transportation equipment, and musical instrument. Since they are not interactive with any additional chemicals, they pose a significant application to all the industries. Due to their non-responsiveness to the other chemicals, they also retain in the environment throughout their life cycle, including manufacturing, processing, distribution, use, and disposal. And they remain in the environment for a much greater time, around like a decade of 100 decades of lifespan. And like removing them from the environment is like a very crucial thing. They are like a non-degradable actually. There enters a Toxic Substance Control Act, which regulates and screens all chemicals produced and imported into the United States. It includes organic, inorganics, polymers, and substances of unknown as well as variable composition, complex reaction products, and biological materials. TASCA subjects includes PCBs, asbestos, lead, and mercury, formaldehyde, and includes certain hexavalent chromium compounds. TASCA provides restriction to manufacture as well as importer of chemical substances, even though they are domestic manufacturer, like importing the PFAS, including mixtures, or directly importing articles that contain PFAS. The National Defense Authorization Act amended TASCA 8, Section 8A by adding Section 8A7, which is every manufacturer PFAS or PFAS articles in any year, the manufacturer importer should report effective from Jan 1, 2011. The EPA published reporting and record keeping requirements for PFAS manufacture under Section 8A7. Any companies that is following effect date from this rule from 18 months should report PFAS record keeping as well as reporting requirements. For small manufacturers under 40 CFR 704.3, it is 24 months from the effect date of this amendment. EPA also proposed a 5-year record keeping period following submission of the reports. But EPA does not propose any reporting exemptions or any thresholds on the production volumes. The timelines on PFAS reporting timelines are In October 11, 2023, TASCA published a final rule under that is published under Federal Register. In 13th November 2023, the final rule of EPA PFAS rule is effective. From 12th November 2024, submission period for the reporting requirements to report the presence of PFAS into the central registration central data exchange starts. From 8th May 2025, the manufacturer should complete their submission requirements, which will be closed for most manufacturers, but still it will be open for small manufacturers. For small manufacturers, it will be closed by 10th November 2025. The scope of PFAS include all published under 40 CFR 705, as well as PFAS structures, which include saturated carbons as well as F and O saturated carbons. EPA has already identified at least 1,462 PFAS under this structural definition. It is already listed in the active directory from February 2023. All PFAS with TASCA Section 5 new chemicals include low volume exemptions. The exemptions for PFAS reporting are: if the company is only processing or distributing in US region but not manufacturer or disposing any PFAS. If there is any non-commercial or R&D activities such as scientific recommendation, research or analysis, it is conducted by academy or a government or independent non-profit organization, they are exempt from PFAS reporting requirements. It also includes certain waste management companies to be exempted from the PFAS reporting. If there is any companies that is mainly involved in the municipal solid waste management are exempted from the PFAS requirements. And there is no PFAS listed as hazardous waste and subject to notification requirements if they are under Resource Conservation Recovery Act. The reporting standards. The reporting standard means if the companies are required to exercise a certain level of due diligence in gathering the information from the sub-supplier as well as the value chain. That companies are required to conduct a survey or inquiry with their organization as well as outside their organization about the knowledge of substances present in their products. If like there is a category called NKRA, that is not known or reasonable acceptable. In this way, if the company must put effort in completing the reporting form if they are not aware of the possible presence of PFAS in their products. As a first step, the companies is required to identify if their products as well as assembled products meets PFAS requirements by meeting the structural definition under the rule of PFAS that is manufactured imported into the commercial portion from 2011. Under all these circumstances, if the company is found to be having their PFAS in their products, they are required to identify in the PFAS discovery in the reporting form and inform required forms to the council. The key takeaways from TASCA PFAS are: if there is any PFAS outside the chemical dashboard that meets structural definition, then it is required to be reported to the PFAS council. And there is no exemption in the reporting requirements. Like even if the PFAS is present in the impurities in their form, they are required to be reported into the council. And there is no minimum threshold. Even if it is present in negligible limit and they are found to be present in the products, they are coming under requirement of reporting. Even if the company that is recycling or reuses the waste that has found to be as have PFAS in their composition, then the reporting obligation is impelled on the company. If the company purchases PFAS from the domestic source, then the original manufacturer substance must report PFAS related information to the entity under this PFAS requirements. All these are taken care only by conducting a PFAS survey with their supply chain and the company is required to collect all the info on the substances present in the products as well as assembly with the respect to cast numbers and chemical name, the concentration as well as the application of use. Next, let's delve into California Prop 65. It is officially known as a Safe Drinking Water and Toxic Enforcement Act of 1986. It is specifically imposed on businesses or companies that are selling their products in California to inform Californians about chemicals they are exposed to, which causes cancer, reproductive harm, as well as birth defects. It is required to showcase clear and reasonable warnings in their products. The proposed 65 prohibits businesses from discharging or releasing the listed chemicals into drinking water source while manufacturing as well as any life cycle of their product manufacture as well as selling. The current Proposition 65 list is available in the official website of RoHS. This is official list from California government. The complaints requirements of California Prop 65 are that businesses that are subject to Prop 65 must provide a clear and reasonable warning to Californians about significant exposure to the listed chemicals. The warning must be provided before exposure to chemicals, and they should be prominently displayed on their products, like a proper label should be established in their website as well as their products. The import substances includes heavy metals like lead, mercury, cadmium, and chromium, as well as phthalates, and BPA, acrylamide, and which includes more than 12,000 substances. The enforcement penalties of California Prop 65 are if any company or Prop 65 allows private citizens or government agencies and certain organizations to enforce its provisions through civil lawsuits. If any company is found to be not obliging the Prop 65 law, is having substantial fine up to 2,500 per day per violation for each of their products. Additionally, if there's any violation found on the reformulation of the products, that missing the warnings to consumers. The recent updates are from December 2023 and 29. The Office of Environmental Health and Hazard Assessment (OEHSA) has added bisphenol S and to the Prop 65 list as a reproductive toxicant. Then getting into POPs, that is persistent organic pollutants, it is a global threat to environment. The POP stands for persistent organic pollutants. It is serious threat through human health as well as environment. These man-made chemicals are incredibly persistent and they can't be removed easily from the environment. It is they can't be breakdown from their presence. Due to their persistent nature, they accumulating on the bodies of humans as well as animals, and they cause a wide variety of health problems. And they can also POPs can also travel long distance through air, water, or migratory species, which means they can be found in regions where there is no never produced or never introduced into the environment. Examples of few POPs are DTDs, PCBs, PFOS, and PFOS. In this following cycle, we can see the circle of POPs entering into environment. Even though they are not introduced in environment like in like a domestic places, from the industry they can travel for a wide distance and they can pose a serious threat to environment, including humans as well as animals and biospecies. The characteristics of POP are they're toxic in nature and accumulate in human bodies, and they remain persistent in the environment. This is mainly introduced by the Stockholm Convention. It is an international treaty which is primarily a framework of POP regulation. It outlines a global strategy for eliminating and restricting the production, use, and trade of POPs. The convention is regularly updated with a few additions to the list. The ongoing research includes scientists are constantly working to identify and assess the new POPs, as it is like a wide area and it is constantly monitored by this team of well-known researchers. As new knowledge emerges, the Stockholm Convention is updated to address the emerging threats and adds new substances into the listed of POPs. The national implementation includes every signatory country to the Stockholm Convention is responsible for implementing this regulation within their borders. This includes developing a national law or a plan to monitor POP levels and promoting public awareness that reduces or prohibits the use of POP as well as the serious exposure to the environment. So after reviewing all these insights, let's jump into challenges of rising global regulations. The main challenges that we face is like increased cost and complexity. Like adhering to these rules can be costly and time consuming. It includes months and months of efforts as well as thousands of dollars that has been spent on ensuring complaints are met and due dates as well as the reporting guidelines are met, and involves training in whole company as well as their supply chain and documenting the process as well as the including testing techniques to the processes. Since it involves multiple supply chain in the company, managing the supply chain with the awareness programs as well as the collection of data and documents from the supply chain is a complicated process, and it becomes more challenging due to the increasing regulations. It requires companies to make extensive effort as well as the budget to ensure the suppliers are following the law as well, and they can always bring in suppliers with green and they're following the rules to avoid some programs, and any campaigns can be uh, regularly followed by the companies to ensure that suppliers are following the law as well. The biggest challenges is keeping up with the changes because the rules are always changing and the list is keep on updated, and in order to maintain the complaints as well as the reporting requirements, the business must be informed about the most recent development, which requires extensive regulatory watch activities as well as following the official websites with their impose on fines as well as the threshold limits and the list of substances. This concerns lack of harmonization. Then regulation are vary through multiple boundaries, and it is differs from different region as well as the areas. So if company is selling the products in a global scale, they are bound to ensure if the product is ensuring the local regulation as well as the regional regulation and the national regulation to sell the product in the particular economy. This leads to lack of harmonization because every company or like every countries and their council is providing their own regulation. Maybe as a whole, it might be a simple like a regulation, but the varying nature of the reporting guidelines, it's a challenge to the companies, and it is not easy for all the companies to follow all the relevant laws. The major issue in adhering this company regulation is supply chain management. Because the major companies require their value chain to ensure compliance requirements, and to ensure that they are required to follow up with the suppliers and collect the declaration of complaints from their suppliers for the product they are selling into the customer, and as well as the component that they are selling into the end customer. It to follow to manage this issue, supplier audits are bound to happen once in a way, like in a regular manner, to ensure the suppliers are following the law, and they need to be awarded with the proper scale to if they are found to be non-conform with the audit, they should be like a serious measures, countermeasures should be taken to properly disengage that products into the environment, following it in the consumers. Another major challenge that is prominently emerges communication challenges. The supply might come back and ensure say like the products are conformant with the particular regulation, but in turn, if we audit or do a trail run or we test the products, we may encounter some additional presence of illicit sources in the substances and the products in the finished goods. But to avoid all those inconsistency, it is always uh, advised to follow proper lab testings as well as the SGS data as well as the lab reports, and it ensures the effective communication within the supply chain. that is another one is like lack of harmonization, which is like different countries follow the different regulations, and it is quite hefty thing for business or companies to follow and adhere to all the challenging regulations. And in order to meet that global complaints, it is a difficulty to meet all the multitude of regulations and to achieve that global compliance. As it requires multitude of regulations, the cost for the product also includes, and it imposes hefty additional process to the businesses to incur high complaint expenses as a result of lack of harmonization. And if they found to be any inconsistency or like a violation to the particular regulation, the companies must has a serious threat of fine and violation, and it will even cause a damage to their names. As a conclusion, while complying to the global rising regulations, which can be a challenging one, it is essential for a business to operate internationally. The major reasons are importance of compliances. Failure to comply with the compliances can result in significant fines, penalties, and reputational damages to the company. So companies are requested to have a proactive approach, and business should take a proactive approach to achieve that compliances by developing a compliance plan globally and having a team of personals to work with the value chain, and they should do a regulatory watch, and they should monitor the changes globally and keeping informed about the multiple stakeholders in the company to achieve the global guidelines. Even though the complaints approaches can be time consuming and additional costs are involved, as a long-term benefit, it helps business to build trust with the customers and stakeholders. It can gain a competitive edge with that in the marketplace. In conclusion, while rising global regulation poses a serious threat and challenges to the business, they also provide opportunity to take advantage edge over other companies. By taking a proactive approach to compliances, business can mitigate the risk and reap the long-term benefits. To achieve those long-term benefits, AFE offer multiple services like to keep customer informed about their latest complaints requirements, and also provide regulatory watch services. We can also provide analysis and reports on the existing data portfolio to ensure compliances. We will ensure follow up with the vendors to gather the required inputs and declaration from their value chain, and offer a consolidated report on complaints at the product level as well as the regulation level. These reports can be straight away shared with the customers in concern, and it reduces most of their efforts as well as the time and cost. It can be easily utilized using API inbuilt green check software to require companies reporting documents from their suppliers. To name a few that API can help is benefits to your organization. Yeah, API can complete chemical complaints management system. We can generate complaint declaration for parts, assemblies, sub-assemblies for regulations like REACH, RoHS, Prop 68, TASCA, and multitude of other emerging regulations. We eliminate manual tasks through process automations, and it involves automated submissions to the customers as well as like a portal for official websites. We also offer automated label preparation for Prop 65 regulations. It can be the software can be integrated to the customer integration of ERP and PDM systems. The advantage of green check software is it is a web-based model, and it covers comprehensive complaints like REACH, RoHS, Prop 65, TASCA, MDR, EU batteries regulation, and other custom regulations. It can be handled by a green check as a whole. The system can help in finding the parts with incomplaints or missing information on the complaints. All those identified parts can be generated as a whole report, and it can be taken back to the vendors for accessing the complaint status in the process, and it can deliver automated emails and reminders to supply chain to assure that complaints declarations. And dashboards of parts, bombs, and programs can be identified from the GreenCheck software. The software is compatible with the IPC 17528 reporting guidelines as well as the FMD documents. And it also helps in document storage as well as understanding the complaint status as a whole at any moment of time. We can see a few of the inbuilt platforms available for complaints activity. The config software is used to ensure config of EU as well as US activity. Reach, RoHS, and Process and other customization can be handled by GreenCheck software. ESG can be handled by ESG HQ software. IMDS security clearance and be handled by IMDS AA software and IMDS Express software. The SCIP is a much more advanced software where everything can be automated, like 100% automated software. So the system can bring in all the inputs if it is given fed to the system, and all the process can be handled by the system, and automated submission can be done. So at the end, you will get the final SCIP notification number as well as the SCIP number. In addition to all this regulation and the software, we also have a software called SCIPs, which ensures a zip code level, district level regulations on the US frontiers. And API as a whole provide a complete solution as well as services to worldwide regulations and help companies meet the global product chemical regulations like config minerals, RoHS, SCIP, Prop65, REACH, IMDS, PCBs, purchase pollutions, PFAS, EMDR, packaging pollution, and BPR, ozone depletion substance, and battery regulators. And we have come to the end of the session. A survey shall be initiated at the end of the webinar. Kindly fill it to help us improve. As we are just in time, we can have the question and answer session. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop us in the comment section, or if you can always reach it to our email complaints@apengine.com. Myself and Bharat will be happy to answer all those questions. And we're just closed on time. Thank you everyone for joining today's webinar, and we're happy to help. Please feel to encourage your questions to complaints@apengine.com. Thank you everyone, and have a great rest of the day.